This is a free podcast from the BBC. For more information, you can go to our website, bbc.co.uk/Radio 2.
Dear Barrowland and Dogmeister, of course. Yesterday, Barrowlands had his birthday. I hope you got him plastered. I bet half of Glasgow was up all night. That rowdy Scots producer. Yesterday, Barrowlands had his birthday, dressed up in his best bib and tucker. Quite. Well, Nat West, rest assured, he will have a good one, because it's today that Barrowland's Boyd is celebrating his Humpty-Dumped birthday, and it's not too far away from the old bus pass now, and a very happy birthday to him. He's no better man. And Springwatch will now kick off with week 3, and what excitement and joys will the viewers now see. My listeners love Springwatch. Will Bill give his antics a well-deserved rest? Will Kate's tits have flown their cosy warm nest? Will Simon have located his favourite wild pussy? Let's hope the wildcat behaves like R.C. Perhaps Kate will just continue to hunt worms under sheeting, and Bill's interest in will be fleeting. Let's hope the wildlife goes on being flirtatious, and trust Bill's behaviour continues outrageous. You can believe that. For we only switch on for some innuendo and smut, so we can all write and complain with a good old... But when this week's ends, and it's the finale on last night, might I suggest a good stew? Oh, no, Tansy, you can't eat the wildlife. I tuned in to watch Friday Night with Jonathan Ross, with Wassy interviewing Andy Maui. To my great surprise, he referred to Andy as being one of the top-ranked players in the world, and said it correctly. If he can say this correctly, I see. You think it's an affectation, then, Jonathan Wass? You think Wassy is saying Maui and things like that? Give himself a bit of street cred? Well, this is a completely new thing. We'll have to tax him. And Mick, that's from Mick from Braintree. And dear wise one, that'll be me then, Robin Worcester. Can you shed any light on why Noel Edmonds was wearing nail varnish on his thumb during Saturday's Deal or No Deal? You watch rather closely, don't you, Robin? Is there something he's not telling us? That's another one. Noel doesn't tell me everything, but I've had my doubts for some time. I write in protest. So well you might, Saunders, and much difference it'll make. On behalf of all sharp-suited young men who like a night out and a lager. Yeah, well, quite. I felt this, Saunders, I must say. You've leaning against an open door with me here. Bradley, what a loser that Bradley is. Got a gormless look on his face, no matter what's said to him. Bradley's mates in Stenders are portrayed as cads and bounders to a man. However, these are middle-class chaps, obviously in gainful employment and helping the local economy by going large up the East End and partying with their wedge. If some other group was stigmatised in this way, there'd be an uproar. Do you know, there is something in what you say. So why do all soap writers struggle with the concept of regular work and a modicum of success? Surely not everyone in the wacky world of soaps has to be a scrimshanker. Scrimshanker. As a keen geologist and a scholar of dinosaurs, yes, it's fossil hunter. Could I ask birthday boy Boyd, Barrowland's Boyd's birthday today, as you know, what were the dinosaurs really like? Tasty, he said. I watched Taggart last night, and you know what I thought to myself? I know what you thought to yourself, Wendy, your head, Rob. You never see Barrowlands and Taggart in the same room together. No, you do not. Be really nice to Barrowland, because he could come up and be off as Taggart's understudy. Come along now, it's your birthday. What have you had to say to us?
There's been a murder.
Where?
Maryhill.
Maryhill! So Monday's here, the clock's gone off, another week's ahead. We've dozed right through the dawn patrol and still lie warm in bed. And now what's this? It's 7:30, the news is done and dusted, the airwaves filled with gibberish from the plainly maladjusted. 2 hours of this and we'll go mad. I call on God divine to cause alarm clocks ne'er to ring before it's 9:30. The Bard of Berkeley Green. What makes you think it gets any better at 9:30? And last Friday, on the Jezavine show, hosted by Eamon Holmes, like a man possessed, we were told that the government was to provide free swimming for the over-60s, to provide exercise and promote good health. Whoop-de-doo! Personally, says Neil, who's not as enthusiastic as he sounds. Personally, I find that just getting to the local swimming pool provides quite enough exercise for myself, if you could find it. We're also told on a regular basis that red wine is good for our health. Why doesn't the government provide free red wine? Well, there's a bonny day. I'd much rather prefer to look after my health in the comfort of my own home. I think that's so true. Now, you will have noticed, probably, that there's been a bit of football on the television. It doesn't involve any of our lads. But since BBC have paid a fortune for the rights to Euro 2008, before they realised that England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland weren't going to qualify, we've got it. And we're all, of course, rigid with excitement about whether Switzerland can beat the Czech Republic. We thought it was all over, but it isn't yet, says Jan. Just when we thought that parade of Nancy's was at an end, on come the footballers, prancing, pirouetting and posing. Yeah, where's Graham Norton, now that he's really needed? Oh, and Chuffer Dandridge, what ho, me old player-manager? Ah, the resting actor-manager, yeah. Are you as excited as I am over the fact that they're playing some football tournament about a European currency, Euro 2008? What an idea. And England aren't in it. Just like the currency itself. Talk about life imitating art, or sport, or whatever the expression is. What happens when a team scores a goal? Do the exchange rates go up? That could be what happens when a goal is scored in an ordinary match, for all I know. I'm not too well up in sport, although I have seen a couple of those Euro games, and the acting is well up to the standard of some of my pantos. Should I be worried? What's a white fiver worth in euro? I'm back from 2 weeks on holiday. Richard Knisley Marpole, Buxton Spa, Derbyshire, with the present Mrs. K.M. in our motorhome. Oh, it's a great life a wheel. Please do me a favour. This is wonderful. And apologise to all those drivers who are stuck behind me in my motorhome with a trailer containing 3 Canadian canoes and 2 bikes, doing less than 40 miles per hour all the way between Knutsford and Macclesfield on Sunday between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It must be thousands. It was not me. It was the woman in the Nissan Micra in front of me who was too busy talking to a passenger to look either in a rearview mirror or speedometer. Thank you, Richard Knisley. I'm sure that will make all those people you delayed by several hours on the motorway feel that much better. It was the woman in the Nissan Micra, OK? And I've just spotted, says Beekeeper of New Forest, and this, I'm sure, will strike a responsive chord with all those who are going to have to pay congestion charges in Manchester. Works terribly well here. Anyway, a tragic report from the good old US of A. Apparently, gas, petrol, has hit an unprecedented $4 per gallon. That's more than £2. Or in proper English, that's 50 pence a litre. Poor Americans. How will they cope? Should we set up a relief fund? Professor Ewan Army, who's North Wales Maximum Security College, it says, despite a fuzz of vino collapso, it's good to see Barrowland Boyd producing a blinder of a programme. Yes, indeed. Yes, the music is blinding. He can do nothing about the erstwhile chat, I'm afraid. He's working on it, but it's a lost cause. This morning on my return home from a 12-hour shift as a nurse, salam to you, Sue from Somerset. Your weather chap was reporting for the west of England gales, yet not a leaf was stirring grey skies. Ours is totally blue, the odd vapour trail. You see, but we're able to predict, you see, what's going to happen in 20 years, but not what's going to happen tomorrow. Since it's topical at the moment, Logan, the good Dame Douglas, finest controller in the history of all radio programmes. We're bowing. There's a lot of forelock tugging here. And indeed, bowing in the general direction of Ruislip. Since it's topical at the moment, I've been looking at the expenses connected with your shambles of a show. Oh, thank you, Dame Douglas. Even a quick look tells me that if there was as much effort given to making the show as funny and innovative as your expenses sheet, the BBC would be much better off. That's tart, isn't it? That is tart. It's not worthy of us, lads, so I'm going to ignore it. I'm in a state of shock. You're in a state of shock, Walter, but I've just had a mouthful. Did my ears deceive me, or did the trailer for Steve Wright's Big Show refer to Petula Clark as a non-stop oldie? Disgraceful. Evidently, my sugar plum.
Well, that's very kind of you.
It's Alice, not me.
Oh,
Alice, he said quickly. Alice Clark.
Alice Clark.
Alice Clark. You and I could be a match made in heaven. I've got nearly all my own teeth, and I'm quite mobile.
Nearly all my own teeth.
I've been particularly impressed by the fact that you're very much a family man, fond of all those lovely nieces of yours. How true that is. I know you're very partial to a glass or two of the old Pinot Grig. Well, don't worry. I'll soon have that knocked out of you.
Oh.
You can become a teetotal vegan like me.
Dull.
Unfortunately, I'll have to put a stop to all those visits to the Tan and Touch-Up Emporium.
Desperately dull.
It's my firm belief that no one should allow themselves to tan any darker than the beige of my special support stockings. So, call me Stud Muffin. You're a Stud Muffin.
Apparently.
Oh, no, you're the Stud Muffin.
It's me.
I've never known what that meant.
Don't worry about it.
Muffin the Mule, I understood.
Don't do that gag.
Nora Treadwell is writing from the Tan and Touch-Up Emporium.
Excellent.
Dearest Alan, we seem to have a bit of a problem. No, not that, you rampant old fox.
I've been called some things in my life.
You have the fox lights, haven't you?
I do.
We had a visit from the mayor of Harrow yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Apparently he heard of our superior reputation. Decided to test us out personally. He was royally treated and used all the facilities. After the steam room and rub down, he opted for the kumquat and watermelon body wax, followed by the creosote scalp rub. Lynn was on duty.
Oh, yeah.
So it's only fair that the mayor should avail himself of her talents. Such an asset. Unfortunately, her enthusiasm got the better of her, and she gave him a creosote body rub instead. When the clean-up was complete and he'd calmed down, she attempted to rectify the situation by offering the mayor certain extras.
Don't give him the extras.
What the extras?
No, but he was howling with pain.
Well,
Services that we reserve only for special clients, like that nice Mr. Boy.
the nice Mr. Boy. Which one's that?
I've never met him.
The problem arose after the mayor had taken full advantage of the offer Lynn made. Yeah, Lynn, you're a givish. You're a giver.
Well, I try.
Having enjoyed himself to the utmost, he pointed out that several of her suggestions and services were somewhat lewd. What? And that he would campaign to withdraw a licence. Unless he could have a repeat performance for free every Tuesday afternoon. See, this is what goes on in the councils of the mighty.
Absolutely, Tuesday afternoon. That's just a few hours away.
He's into us every week now, though. Sorry about that, Alan.
Who isn't?
Do you have any contacts within the council who can have a quiet word with his worship? Listen, I hope the mayor of Harrow isn't listening to this. We could be sued. You'll never get the best Uncle Fester, for his system is really pants. He's going through a phase where his brummy ways has you running around like headless ants. This could be aimed at you. Though his real aim was to do for Deadly's woofer in a drastic and long overdue way, the result is Lynn's tweeter. It's never been sweeter. Perhaps you should ask him to stay. Crookie, are you...
Oh, yes, very good.
Oh, well. Oh, terrific. Listen, where's Bilotti when we need him? What was that? Was that a whippoorwill?
Who knows?
You
It's
do
my tweeter.
You do a Baltimore Oriole, don't you?
Is that a Baltimore Oriole?
Yeah.
No,
I thought they were little biscuits.
No, that's... Sorry,
No.
that's a hoopoe, if I may say.
Well, it's a Norfolk hoopoe, to be fair. Norfolk.
Yes, Norfolk.
Indeed.
So good.
It's brilliant.
Isn't modern technology brilliant? Yesterday was Barrowland's birthday, yes, Barrowland Boyd, but instead of sending an email wishing her many happy returns, I've chosen to wait a day and do it now, thus making this email the equivalent of a belated birthday card. Well done. That's from Bill Gates. Nice to know. He's on the cutting edge. What ho, me old cackling cake eaters? Ah, Chuffer Dandridge, an early recipient of a Chuffer Dandridge missive. Can I wish a belated happy birthday to dear old Barrowlands? Dear old, yes indeed. Veteran broadcaster and indeed producer. Hope he had a good one and got the complete set of Edgar Lustgarten films he always wanted. Those were wonderful, weren't they? I remember back in the quondam days when Barrowlands used to play piano for me in Paris. Of course, I was doing an act with a bucket and a badger in Folkestone Town Hall, so it didn't bother me. It was a waste of time then, all those years tickling the ivories in a seedy bar in Paris then. Ah, Chuffer. P.S. Dear old cheery chap, I hope you had balloons and trifle and the Pans People reunion. Pace yourself, though. 35's a dangerous age. We've had our share of technical difficulties here this morning, but we're bustling through. And the Hotel Posh, Aberdeen. You may have heard in the news. Say, buddy. Oh, this is from Donald Trump. Oh, how lovely. Hi, Don. I'm over in Scotland trying to sort out a little bit of business, and folks tell me your radio show is as good a way as any to get some publicity. So I'd sure like to get you to mention my golf club on the air. If you can do it, then there's a free round for you and your pals. They tell me you're some kind of putting ace. They tell you incorrectly, Don. Maybe when you're finished at 9, you could pop around here for a cup of coffee and a chat. But you need to be here by 9:30. I gotta go by then. What, the Hotel Posh in Aberdeen? They're taking me out for something called Rowies. Have you ever tried them? Don't do it, Donald. Don't do it. You'll never purse your lips again. And greetings frae old Riki. You see, there's a Scots element in here. In a desperate attempt to impress my 2 daughters that I can be hip and trendy, says Harold. Harold be thy name. I thought I'd engage in a television event that many of the tabloid newspapers rant on about. What could it be? However, I ended up wasting 2 hours watching a house full of egotistical, fame-hungry, perverted, drunken and loud-mouthed layabouts lounging around the house, doing nothing instructive and shouting at each other. So never again am I going to watch the House of Commons on BBC Parliament. I only get to listen to you on my journey to work every weekday. Well, Julie, that's your luck. So I must have missed something. Oh, you need to be missing something to listen to this. Who is this Barrowland who's just had a birthday? I tried Google and came up with a dance hall in Glasgow. That's how he got his name. Was it a birthday for a guy? It was Barrowland's Boyd, or Barrowland Boyd, or there's been a murder in Maryhill Boyd. But it was his birthday yesterday, and we fussed. How times change, Des Custard. Not enough in Tunbridge Wells. When I was pulled up for speeding once as a young tearaway, the quondam days, the policeman asked me with withering contempt, "Who do you think you are? Sterling Moss?" Yesterday, when I absent-mindedly slipped the clutch a little early while waiting at traffic lights and created a small dent in the car in front, a passing bobby on his beat couldn't resist comparing me to Sterling's modern equivalent, poor Lewis Hamilton, to win so many races and be remembered just for a small dent in somebody called Kiki's car, for goodness sake. Yes, it's Des Custard. I know you can tell I made this up. The bit about the passing bobby. Yeah, that was a giveaway. Hi. Dear Mr. Allencote, I'm writing on behalf of the Wheelston Wildlife Trust.
Lightly grilled.
To help you, can you help in a fundraising exercise we're attempting? The fundraising event is an evening of popular bird calls, and your name was put forward as the only person in the UK, barring the late Percy Edwards, that could impersonate the lesser-spotted great Wheelston grebe warbler. There it is now. Oh. Anyway, if you would care to go along there, refreshments will be provided.
I can do it with my mouth as well. It's really good. Yeah, okay.
Most of that is done through his nose, you know.
I know, sadly.
Well recovered.
Harrow Borough Council, on the other hand, Solicitor's Office.
Yeah.
The Mayor has asked me to contact you following comments made in your programme yesterday. I knew we'd be in trouble with the Mayor of Harrow.
I didn't say a thing.
He's not generally a litigious person. But certain suggestions were made. Broadcast must be put in the appropriate... He's certainly aware of Miss Nora Treadwell's establishment, the Tan and Touch-Up Emporium.
Who isn't?
It was suggested, however, that he was a devotee. Indeed, Miss Treadwell is somewhat notorious in these parts. However, he denies being a regular visitor. By being irregular, one can retain a sense of deceit. Likewise, it's untrue he threatened the licence in any way unless he was granted a freebie. The Mayor tells me he realises that Miss Bowles and Miss Treadwell have a living to earn, and he's more than happy to pay for the services requested. It's just that Tuesday is the day before payday, so he sometimes a little... Listen!
Little skid.
There'll be trouble. There'll be trouble if this goes on. I'd just like to disassociate myself from the remarks of the last speaker.
Dissociate? You can't disassociate.
Did anybody ever tell you that you missed your vocation?
Well, I thought they said vacation, so I sort of went on holiday.
One of those.
You should have been Pope. Look, there's too much old stuff about the pair of you, and I'm sick of you.
About very low profile this week on this show, I think. Very well behaved.
Gadfot. It's a new movement. Get Alan Dedicoat's face on TV.
See?
Oh, great Master Dedicoat. Our campaign to overcome the ASBO and allow your full and glorious visage to be available to all viewers gathers pace. It's gathering pace.
Good.
The latest developments. We've hired spin doctors to distance you from the old Irish Aegis and the coal miner's daughter you currently have.
That's brilliant.
George Clooney has agreed to reduce his front-of-camera appearances so you can take over many of his gigs. His pet pig has now been returned to him.
Good.
Our masterstroke to ensure the suave quality of your future exposure, we've agreed an exclusive clothing deal with Bill Oddie's Tailors. Bill is bursting out all over. Have you noticed?
I'll try and looking like a hide.
Oh, and look at the Shona Mercy. It's from
Yes.
the Wealdstone Development Council.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Deadlycoat's Newsreaders Lounge, BBC.
Just lounge.
As you'll be aware, we're getting close to the Wealdstone Midsummer Ball. It's all pleasure there, isn't it?
It is. Oh, all the time.
And no
All
one
the
knows
time.
better than you, looking at it all from your little window above the hairdressers. And we find ourselves in dire straits. Ron the tramp, who lives in the bus shelter, has gone to visit his cousin, who resides in a telephone box in Heckmondwike.
Heckmondwike, lad.
Where the fox at? And no longer available to compare a gala review in the theatre, the Wealdstone Dramarama. Having exhausted every other possibility, and with the inevitable level of dread, we've decided you're the only option. I'm afraid. We assume that since your demotion to G-list celebrity status...
G-list.
I didn't think that was a G.
Well, I was F last week.
Well,
Yes, I've heard.
let's move on. The Dramarama has only just reopened after your last escapade involving the juggling poodle and the balloons full of exploding hair gel.
Oh, I grabbed the wrong end.
In fact, Mrs. Bickerdike has only just managed to get the juggling club out of her trombone. Please bring your friends, the Irish chap with the bemused expression, the posh bird with a passion for anything in trousers, and a little yellow gnome who smells of compost. Oh, buggy. The Welsh totty can also come if she promises not to spend the entire evening lying on the bar floor under the lager taps with her mouth open,
Oh,
waiting
doing
for
that.
the stray drops.
Keep doing that.
it's the only pleasure I get.
Oh, to have been to Wealdstone Fair, and left my necktie God knows where, and carried halfway home or so pints of Pinot Grigio, I stagger down the darkened street, roaring to the folk I meet, "You there, boy, there you go! I'm on the BBC, you know.
Who
I
speaks
need
like
relief, the pain's so sore. Ha-ha, a lovely dark shop door. The policeman came from nowhere. So, to the lonely cell I go. The magistrate at me does stare. I'll go no more to Wealdstone Fair." A.E. Bungalow Man.
Well, it could have been John Betterman, though, couldn't it?
Very
Could
close.
so easily.
And it's
So
so
easily.
close to... It's almost like having two of you here when he does your voice, you know.
Really? How dare you even say such a thing? I don't sound like that. Do I?
suppose it's
Do I sound like that?
uncannily close to
The real thing when I do that. Hello, those bowls.
It's a bit
Just
British
ridiculous.
Forsyth there. Did
Just
go a little bit
ridiculous.
Forsyth.
I've gone a long way for this.
And you're rolling over on Saturday.
Double.
Oh,
Double rollover for you.
Okay.
That'll be about 12 million, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, I'd like to do the Euro Millions as well, because 12 million doesn't go far these days, particularly in view of the credit crunch.
Must be
there-
dreadful for you. Must
No
be dreadful.
pleasing some, is there? Cool.
No, and I'm not sharing it with somebody. I've said this before. If the 12 million comes up and somebody else wins it along with me, I'm not taking 6 million, okay?
All right. But I mean, your mates and muckers.
Yeah, you
mates and
you
muckers.
see us right, wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
because, we get up early for
Yeah.
this.
Let's get on. I had to go to the dentist, said Lollipop. Oh, no. And he has your program playing. He said he didn't know why he had it on. He doesn't really like you. But don't worry, I got him back. When he went to start the treatment, I bit him. Excellent. That's what we'd like to hear. Let's hope it turns infectious. And Francis Klonowski of Leeds. Well, there's no doubt. The highlight of Euro 2008 so far. What? The Dutch? The Portuguese? The Spanish strikers? No. Nothing to do with the happenings on the pitch either. A special report by Garth Brooks. Sings a decent song in a cowboy hat, about how the French coach, Monsieur Domenech, is apparently using astrology to pick his team. Yeah, he won't pick somebody as a Leo as a defender. And this man is in charge of the team. I thought Sarkozy was going to get rid of loonies. Cut to a nerdy-looking French astrologer trying to convince us that a Leo and an Aries can't play together and that a Leo can't defend. And then you cut to a bemused Thierry Henry, who didn't seem to know what astrology was. Probably thought something he was being asked to promote on the television. Back to Garth Brooks, doing his best to sum up until a sound fault left him talking to himself. Oh, God, I'm sorry I missed this. That's the best thing on 2008. Yeah. Cut back to Gary Lineker in the studio. Well, we seem to have lost our sound there. Probably just as well, because it wasn't making much sense anyway. And finally to the great Martin O'Neill, who said, I might look at the year they were born, but not the month. You couldn't. No, you couldn't make it up. And, of course, The Apprentice, which I'm very proud to say I haven't watched. If I want bumptious arrogance and self-promotion, I can get plenty of that at home. I don't know if you're lucky enough to see the final. Lucky, Jamie Donut. The two teams were given the task of developing a fragrance for men. Much talk of a metrosexual perfume. It's just the kind of program that talks about metrosexuals. Apparently used by both men and women with disastrous effect. Yes, because both female contestants claimed to have balls, and Lee, the eventual winner, said he had worked his tits off. So you see, one of these perfumes, what were they supposed to be doing? And they should have been on Spring Watch. And one team talked of developing a perfume for men who want to smell like men. Oh, Jamie Donut, God, I'm glad I missed that. Edna Cloud, up early this morning, off to foreign parts. Oh, Edna, look out for Johnny Foreigner, will you? They're not like your old people in the old hometown of Wigan, let me tell you that. I hope the other people in the minibus heading for Liverpool Airport remember my rule, says Edna. No talking while Terry's talking. The most popular person on the bus, Edna. She's going down to Perpignan to see off those Catalans. I always think the worst part of any trip is getting through customs. Not because of the long queue, it's the passport photo. Oh, Edna, you want to see mine? I have a beauty. I'm like the Phantom of the Rue Morgan. These politicians, says Des Custard of Tunbridge Wells, we're all on the edge here, should consider the consequences before they open their gobs. Our cat has gone hungry this morning because when I visited the supermarket yesterday, there wasn't a tin, pouch or box of cat food left to be bought. And when I complained, the manager said a lady pensioner and her friends and neighbours had been in and cleared the shelves. After the lady thought she heard that nice Mr. Brown announce there was no need to start panic buying pet food. I gave up and joined the queue to top up with 5 litres of petrol instead. Not pet food. Ladies, it's petrol. There's no need. Of course, as soon as you say there's no need to panic, Gordon, everybody's going to panic, aren't they? As you know, Barrowland's main claim to fame is that he does a splendid impersonation of Taggart, and there's been a murder in Maryhill. Well, I must tell you, I've lived in Maryhill all my life, and I've never heard of a murder taking place here, says Roland Butter. Let me tell you more, a little-known gem of a place. It was in this tranquil and heavenly part of Glasgow I owned and managed a 5-star seafood restaurant. Did you indeed? Succulent crab, oysters, shrimp and prawn, freshly caught each day in the Gulf Stream, which flows into the Forth and Clyde waterway. It's idyllic, isn't it? The magnificent stretch of water meanders lazily through the heart of Maryhill, and it was here, because of commanding views, I built my restaurant. The area is now developed in what they call Multi-Millionaires Row. There you are. 10-bedroom bungalows complete with yachting berth, each set in a couple of acres of lush green meadow. In the balmy evenings, holidaymakers and beautiful people from around the world are drawn to the water's edge and stand in mystical awe, watching the dolphins and turtles play as the sun goes down. Over the years, I've only ever heard a police siren wail once, when Lady Tong Jabath from Thailand lost her Siamese cat in one of the cottonwood trees that line Fir Hill Boulevard, the mile-long entry to our international sports stadium. You may have seen recent episodes of Taggart, where there was a nasty blagging in Barrowland and blackmail in Bearsden, but I can assure you there has never been a murder in Maryhill. Chuffer Dandridge is right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Chuffer. What ho, me old thigh-slapping twosome. He's jolly hearty, isn't he? And he's got that cloak. And
that big hat, that big fedora thing.
Oh, that fedora, yes. Did I hear your rub-down girl, Lynn, mention my old pals Wimborne Minster and Newton Flockman yesterday?
Yes!
Their tale is one of terrible showbiz rivalry. One was a balletic mime, seriously miscast as tough police inspectors in numerous gritty 50s B-movies, and the other a ventriloquist who specialised in the full spectrum of gastric noises. They first fell out over the ownership of a stick of eyeliner when sharing digs during a summer season, and vowed to ruin each other's career. Oh, this is a slice of theatrical life. Wimborne, the mime, would be performing a nymphet play on stage, while Newton, the vent act, would crouch up backstage and let rip with the old tummy timpani, the old wobbling wind, as Wimborne leapt through the air, making it sound like he broke more than his fast. It gave him a rotten name. Wimborne Minster was more direct in his retaliation. When Newton was doing his vent act on stage, Wimborne would fly from the wings, kick the dummy from his hands, and knock Newton's teeth out. When Dame Footlights sits on your lap, make sure there's a crease in your trousers. She's a cruel mistress, Dame Footlights.
Wake up to Wogan!
This was a podcast from BBC Radio 2. Don't forget you can also download free podcasts for Steve Wright, Russell Brand and Chris Evans. Get more information now at bbc.co.uk/Radio 2 and wake up to Wogan every weekday morning from 7:30, online, on digital and on 88 to 91 FM.